All right, so we've had some questions come in about the South Africa trip, and I'm very excited to see the names on the list so far. Oh my gosh, I can barely wait to meet those women, and maybe you'll be one of them. I'm not going to tell you everything. I'm keeping a whole bunch of stuff a surprise, but I will tell you a couple of things. And I did a little bit of a short post recently, just saying these things. But what this is about time. And regardless of what you believe, from the scriptures to faith to religion, whatever, we all have our own beliefs. And I believe that my spirit of beauty is a God-given gift that has power and purpose. I also believe that my most precious gift in life is time, which is supported by my health, which is for me to manage and look after, right? So I have that precious time on earth. But as women, really and truly, how much time do we take for ourselves? And I'm not even going to go into, it's not me time. It's not self time. It is actually biblical time. It says there, love your neighbor as yourself. Let me ask you a question. How well do you love yourself? How well have you loved yourself for all of these years? 40, 50, 60, 70 years. How well have you done that at the age of 37 or 44 or 53 or 61? Truly, how well have you done that? It's about time. It's about time that you take the time to love yourself well. You have no idea how powerful this is. I do, because there were trips that I almost didn't go on year after year after year, some years ago, about many years ago, because I had all kinds of reasons. Usually it was money, usually it was time. I've got kids, I run a business. I had every excuse under the sun. And yet I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. And I kept on being prompted by God in my prayer time to go on certain trips. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go because I'm hearing you. It wasn't my idea, it's yours, and clearly I'm going to go. Those trips changed my life. They changed my life. I had time to sit down and create fresh vision and reflection. Who am I? What have I accomplished in life? What do I still want to accomplish? What is it that I want to say to the world without saying a word, through what I wear? What do I want to communicate? What is the message that I'm walking in with? So the most important thing here is time. So my question to you is, and there's all kinds of connections and reflections and experiences you'll have on this trip. I had designed this trip from the depths of my heart and the depths of my mind, very intentionally, so that I receive you as a one way of a woman, as a woman, one way, and that I say farewell to you as a different woman. You will not leave the same. If I have anything to do with it, you will not leave the same. You're not going to be worse off. You're going to be a more beautiful, more confident, more powerful, more influential, more relaxed, more fun version of you as you are right now. So you need to make connections with women who are like-minded on this very similar journey as you are, or this journey that you might decide to join us on the coaching program. This is the only prerequisite for this tour, by the way. If you're watching this and you don't know about it, the only requirement for the SA trip, the trip to South Africa in October 2022, is that you complete the program, because we are going to be building on that. Okay, it's a strong and essential foundation for it. But you will have time to connect with like-minded women who are on a powerful, individual, intentional, biblical journey to letting our spirit of beauty soar, to get up, dress up, and be that bold light on a hill. You will be at dinner with them. You'll be at breakfast with them. You'll be walking up Table Mountain with them. You will be in South Africa on safari with them. You will be sitting with me and these women around a beautiful campfire in the middle of the safari, and having had maybe some good wine and some good food, or even if you don't drink whatever you drink is going to be good. This is South Africa. We have good food. Everything here tastes good. We're going to be around the campfire. We're going to be sharing tearful stories. We're going to be laughing till our bellies ache, until our cheeks hurt. We're going to be connecting and bonding, and we're going to be forming friendships for life. That happened to me on a trip that I was told by God to go on in 2012, which was to Mozambique, that I didn't want to go on. And I came away from that trip almost 10 years later. I still have one of my closest friends, Magda. She's still one of my very, very, very nearest and dearest friends. And she has blessed me throughout those 10 years. I wouldn't have that if I hadn't gone on that trip. I can't imagine my life without Magda. It wouldn't be the same. And I didn't know You don't know what you don't know, right? I didn't know I was missing a true and close, incredible, valuable friend where we have so much in common, from fatherhood to childhood to all kinds of womanhood issues. I had no idea what we had in common. I would never, ever would I have gained that. And that was one thing that came out of many, many, many trips. That was Mozambique. Mozambique was also where I told the story where God told me to, actually I'm not going to tell you now, I'll tell you another time. If you've missed it, you might have heard it because I've told it once. I'll tell it another time. Beautiful story about God and fashion and nail polish. That happened in Mozambique. Actually, I'm going to tell you. Short version. When I was packing, and we were going on this mission trip to the bush, and God told me to pack nail polish. So I'm like, that sounds a little bit strange, going to the bush, because we're going to places where some of them haven't seen a white face and they don't understand our language ever in their whole lives. But I hear you loud and clear, and I packed 126 bottles of nail polish. I was teased and ripped apart by my friends at church and because they'd all been on a mission trip and they were leaders of whatever, and like, I'm just Linda, right? I'm the blingy Linda who goes to church in my high heels, and fashion is fickle, and this is church Linda, it's not a fashion show. Some of them would say every Sunday, and God kept me there, and it was really good training ground for me. And they said, oh honey, you're so sweet, you're not going to need your nail polish. I'm like, I know what I heard. And then the next week would be like, Lens, oh, you're so cute. Do paint your nails now. I said, this is not for me. Who's it going to be for? The little kids in the bush? And I said, shut up. I know what I heard. Anyway, we get there. We were nearing the end of our 12 days in the bush, and a couple of jobs come my way again. So like, hey, Lens, I guess you didn't need, 126 bottles of nail polish after all, did you? But you're so sweet, because I know you love color. I know you love fashion. I'm like, you know what? Shut up. And I was being very polite. I know that I heard my God. On the second to last day, or the third to last day, I think it was, before we leave, one of the leaders of the whole thing gathers us. We're maybe, I don't know, we're a whole bunch of people at the big gate. We're going off to go and do something. And she says, listen, I know this is going to sound very strange, but what are the chances that anyone here has nail polish? And I'll go, put my hand up, because I started doubting after 10 days. I'm like, Lord, did I hear you right? Or was that really just me? And she said, I can't believe you brought it. She said, what are the chances you've got more than 2 or 3 bottles? I said, I have 126. She and I both cried, and she said, this afternoon, we have the precious privilege of rounding up all the prostitutes who have been working in this area for years and years, and they ended up in a little under hut, grass hut, on chairs, where we washed their feet and we got to paint their toenails and help them to feel beautiful. They cried, we cried. Don't tell me God doesn't do fashion. Don't tell me God isn't in nail polish. Whatever, man. That was Mozambique, okay? That was a powerful fashion and beauty experience that he gave me on a trip that I said I don't need to go to, and I don't feel like I'm called there. And he's like, this is not about you, honey. I'm like, okay. I started packing. When was the last time that you set aside time to just relax and rest and be pampered and have a massage, enjoy some reflexology, no guilt, to have a facial, to have your ears gently massaged alongside that facial, to have your whole body just wrapped and pampered and looked after and loved on, not for an hour, not for 2 hours, guilt-free, to do your own thing in the spa the whole day, 2 days if you want, to do it guilt-free, no deadline, no rush back home, no dinner to make, no kids or husband to see to at home, no work to catch up on that night, just guilt-free rest and relaxation. When was the last time that you made time for yourself to go out in nature, exploring new fauna and flora, and doing as I've often encouraged you to do, to when it comes to your style, take your inspiration from creation? How do you do that? How do you look at a rose bush or a tree and be inspired to wear something in your wardrobe? There is a powerful connection between creation and your personal style. Have you ever tried it? Don't you want to know how to do it? Have you ever experienced the true, beautiful, biblical result, biblical for me and maybe just spiritual for you, result of looking at the glorious creation around you and then creating an outfit out of your wardrobe? Do you know what that feels like? It's incredibly, incredibly special. What about business? Maybe you are in corporate America. Maybe you work for yourself. Maybe you have 2 jobs. Maybe you want to expand your confidence, your influence, and your income. This trip has business training peppered throughout it. Our conversations, you and I are going to have lots of one-on-one time. The founder and CEO of one of our other companies will be there as well. My husband, Jan Potgieter, is global negotiation coach to some of the biggest corporate brands in the world. He was negotiation coach on the biggest sports negotiation deal in history with Manchester United. He consulted and coached them through that deal. That's who you're going to be on this trip with. One conversation can make you a lot of money with this man. I learned all of my sales negotiation skills from him almost 20 years ago. So this is a trip where many companies actually would consider sponsoring their employees or their partners. This is an ideal opportunity for you to take the document that we've sent out by email. You should have received it by now. It's on our business letterhead, signed and written by Jan Potgieter himself, explaining what the draft itinerary is going to be, and that we are going to be doing negotiation skills, best practice, women in the marketplace, and confidence in the marketplace, boosting your business skills and your professional skills, and of course the value that you have to the company that you work for or the business that you run, which means for you or for your company or for your employer, it's a tax write-off because it is a business expense. So you should be very bold and very confident to go and ask for at least half sponsorship of the cost of the trip. If you haven't thought about that, that's like negotiation 101 is ask. Give people the opportunity to say yes to you. That's one of many things that you're going to learn. When was the last time you ever invested time and a beautiful, stunning, drop-dead gorgeous outfit in the middle of creation? One is going to be on safari, one is going to be in the gorgeous Cape Winelands. A photo shoot, it's not a photo shoot, it's a photo shoot. All about you and your spirit of beauty, capturing you in that moment, in that outfit, looking this way, turning your head, capturing all your beautiful, feminine, powerful features. The essence of you. Not a family photo shoot, no, just you. With a professional photographer who has a waiting list of 3 years at a time. She's beautiful, she's down to earth, she's professional, she has a God-given talent behind the camera, she grew up with the camera, and she will capture the most beautiful you that you will ever have seen, and you will have that for life, and you will frame that, and you will share that with your family. It will go on your wall. That is very, very special. Have you ever been on safari? And I mean a proper safari. Have you ever seen the Big Five? Do you know what the Big Five is? You know how special it is just to be quietly out at 5:30 a.m. and it's still a little bit misty and you can't see anything but you can hear something and you're a little bit scared and a little bit excited, because even though I was born and raised in this country for 30 years, I still get a bit scared on those safaris because this is the wild. And of course you are with the most experienced rangers and trackers and game lodge managers that you can ever find anyway. But I still get kind of this anticipation and you just think, where is it? And then you see this majestic, powerful, massive elephant just exiting slowly from behind the huge trees. Just beautiful just to watch them. No talking, just no nothing. And just taking a couple of pictures with your camera or your video. You forget where you are. You forget who you are. And you just get drawn in by the majesty and the splendor of his works, by the way, which you are part of. It says in Psalms, his works are majestic and splendid. Are you not part of his works? There's no coffee that tastes like coffee in the middle of a safari at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's no coffee that tastes like coffee in the middle of your safari, well, maybe about 9:30 in the morning after having woken up at 4:30, 5, and just stopping and just marveling at the mountains, the landscapes, the rivers, and you just take a breath, you take time, you take it in. That one morning alone is worth its weight in gold. The African bush is something very, very special. All the connections you'll make with conversations at breakfast, at brunch, over lunch. What about the late great Nelson Mandela, whose communications team I had the privilege of working on? I had the immense honor of meeting the man. Everything that you know about him is true and then some. You just go to times it by 9,000. He was that good, powerful, humble, incredible man. one of the best leaders of all time of the human race, go and stand in the cell that he stood in for all those years, his little cell, looking out the bars, putting your hands on the bars where his hands were, and just closing your eyes and wondering, what must he have gone through? What was he thinking? How must he have felt to be wrongfully imprisoned for so long, for fighting for freedom? What kind of a man does it take to come out of that 27 years wrongful imprisonment, forgive his captors, and change a nation? What kind of leadership must that look like? Come and meet the people who are now running the tours at the prison, who were actually there with him, some of them at that time. There's nothing like that. You can't read about, you got to ditch the travel channel, and you got to make time to go and do this for real, because this is real life. One of the trips that changed my life, and I went twice, was to Israel. And my husband really always wanted to go for the longest time. And I didn't have a desire. I just didn't have this desire that he had. And I'm so grateful to my coach all those years ago. She said, you need to go with your husband. This is a very powerful trip together. And I thought about it, and we talked. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'll go for him. I wouldn't have the faith that I do today. I wouldn't have the scriptures that I read out of. I wouldn't do what I do today in the way that I do it if it weren't for that trip. If it weren't for sitting in, smelling, tasting, and seeing the things that have impacted me so radically, that are now woven into what I do as a business, how I help my clients, that wouldn't be in there. It wouldn't be in there had I not gone to Israel, and not just once, twice. I could go on and on. Let me tell you something about money. Money is important to you and to me, but money is just a tool. Money is not evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. But money is a tool, and you control money. Money doesn't control you. It is a tool. It's something that is necessary to survive and to help others who can't help themselves. You know how to make it, so go make it, do extra work, sell something, get creative, make the money, and get the money together and book yourself on this trip. You will thank me later. Yes, money is important, but it is not the reason that you should not go on this trip. I know of all the events that I would have missed out on when I was living in London, facing my second divorce, feeling this is not the life that I thought I was going to live, feeling hopeless, feeling out at sea, feeling like a failure, looking like I'm achieving some stuff in the world, but just so broken on the inside. Had I not gone to one event across the ocean from London to America years ago, I would not even be here. I shudder to think where I would be. And my reason was, I don't have the money. I'm in so much debt. I'm facing my second divorce, and I am so burnt out I can barely get up in the morning. I remember that day. And I took the time, because God said to me, it's time. You have the time. Find the money. Make the money and book yourself on this trip. And my husband and I both did, and everything turned around. Not that same day, but that was the day that everything turned around, and more followed, and more followed, and more followed. Fast forward, here I am, back in my beautiful homeland, doing something way beyond that I ever imagined I could do, working with the most incredible women who I am beyond excited to meet on this trip to South Africa. So, my friend, I'm going to leave it there. You decide whether you will use the God-given gift of your time to rise up, get up, dress up, and be that bold light on a hill that you know you are called to be, to come and experience something powerful and beautiful with me in my homeland, where the entire focus is going to be you and your spirit of beauty, and watch what happens. If you don't have the e-brochure, it is in the featured tab in the Dress to Connect group. It is in our closed client group, The Power of Personal Style. We have a hand-picked tour operator who is taking care of all of our clients' flights at no cost to you, taking care of all of the admin, the flights, the connections, making sure you use your travel points, everything that you need in support of your travel itinerary, they're taken care of at no cost to you. The full price of this trip is in the e-brochure. And we have chunked down at least 30% of the cost of what this would cost you, if not 35%. We went back and back and back to the drawing board over and over again. We in fact selected a brand new tour operator because we didn't feel like we're getting the best deal. This is the best deal of this trip of a lifetime that you will ever get. Say yes. Say yes. Click on the link that I'm going to drop below. Have a look at it. Book it. Send the email in. Book it. Get the money. Make a plan. And come away with me. See what happens to you and to your life after that.